I'm feeling low. Hey everybody, hope you're well. And today it is now 30 days since Dwight took over from Chris and took the helm over at Krios. And I mean, some fantastic things have happened. We're going to talk to Dwight now. We're going to do so much in this interview today. We've got 30 days of Dwight speed. Is the only way I can say this. And then Dwight's got some amazing things that he wants to tell us. Something really exciting. It's going to last 60 days. You got to stay till the end of the video to find out what it is. But I promise you now, if you stay till the end of the video and listen to what Dwight says, it is 100% worth it. Hi Dwight, how you doing?
Good, doing great, doing great.
Happy 4th of July.
Thank you, thank you. Had a good Fourth of July. Lit off a lot of fireworks. I'm a little tanner, you probably can tell. Got the flag behind me. Well, it's good.
Nice. And obviously, this is one of the biggest holidays of the year. Where are you now? You're obviously not in the office with all the books
Yeah,
behind you.
yeah. So we have a lake home. I've spent the week with the family out here playing around in the water and unfortunately watching them from the window as I work, but that's okay. A good
That's
family time.
if you've got the view. That's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you took over 30 days ago, Dwight, and I've got to, the community has really rallied behind you in what you've been, the amazing achievements, really. If we look at, what's been achieved maybe over the last 15 months and what we've seen in the last 30 days, it's absolutely incredible. What for you has been sort of the biggest challenges? What you're most proud of achieving in that 30 days?
So we've had a lot of achievements. I'll have to say that. I think we've kind of kept everybody kind of informed through emails and some of the other stuff as to some of the things. I'm going to do just a really quick overview as to some of the items that we've been able to accomplish over the first month of ownership of the business. And probably the most important things are the added exchanges. I think everybody appreciates the fact that there's got to be some liquidity to the investment opportunity, and exchanges are the best way to do that. A little disappointed with the crypto bridge, but it will pick up. I think they've done a really nice update to their application. I think that people will start to move over to that a little bit more. And then obviously P2P has been strong. We actually have three pairs listed there, so you can trade in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Tether now, which is great. Trying to get us to that mainstream thing. We've been added to blockchain, which is kind of cool. We were added to a shopping cart, which, by the way, does work. I bought something that cost like $4, like a little video camera thing, and it showed up on my porch, believe it or not. I kind of was a little worried about that, but for $4 worth of KRI, I was able to purchase something from the business, which was good. We have a great COO that people are going to start to see more and more of over time. We're in the midst of a lot of the business stuff, like dealing with 1,000 exchanges that are trying to let us list with them. Some of the stuff that's exciting is part of the business, but it's also pretty time consuming, to say the least. So Joe's been focused a lot on that. Some outside investment opportunities and stuff like that he's been tied up with. Some of the let's see, what else have we done? We've done the website. The website's about to roll out this week as far as rebranding of the Krios .io site will be available probably midweek. We have our Facebook page. This is something that I don't think we've even announced yet, but people that haven't joined the Krios Facebook page need to do it. We're past 12,000 subscribers at this point, which we started at 4,000. So
Wow.
we've tripled the number of people that are actually subscribed to that news channel. Again, it's kind of building things that we're trying to do is build more and more visibility out to the community. You know, the more people that are in Facebook, even if they don't own Krios, they're hearing about Krios. You know, every time we post an update there, they may see it, they may not, but it's just a matter of getting that consumer base larger down at the end of the day. Some of the other things that are pretty exciting are, I think one of the things we wanted to mention was the Telegram group. We've moved to a new Telegram group. Everything ICO, we're trying to remove. So the company is not in an ICO. That was done, 14, 15 months ago. The company is now a business that's operating as a business with its own token. So the new Telegram group is now at Krios token versus at Krios ICO. So that was one of the reasons that we decided to move over to that.
And just while you're there, Dwight, I will put the link down below to make it really easy. If you're not in Telegram, click on the link and you'll go straight to the new group. Yeah,
that's great. That's really good. So that's just some of the accomplishments that we've done. I mean, short of the fact that, when I purchased the company, it was trading at about 1/3 of a cent. We're pretty much averaging anywhere from 3 to 3.5 cents on a daily basis right now, which is a good solid 10 times increase. And quite frankly, that's really exciting when you understand that we haven't gotten the hard work done yet. So I think as we start to continue to fulfill the promises that had been made previously, we're able to kind of roll that price up as well. So.
Yes, a lot, and I suppose for the community, there's a little bit of question in terms of, you've come in and you've done so much in such a short period of time. Some people might say, well, why didn't this get done a lot earlier as such? But I think it's testament in terms of the Facebook numbers, the Telegram. I don't think I've seen a bad word said in Telegram, which is a bit unheard of, if I'm honest. Over the last 15 months, there's always been someone, the support, the price. I mean, the momentum is with you at the moment, right?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, and it's a lot of work, and that's. I don't shirk hard work. I mean, I enjoy working hard, and I think that's what it takes to make a successful business. I mean, something I've always told my kids, if it's easy, everybody would do it.
Indeed, yes.
If it's hard, very few can do it, and if you give it enough effort, you can pretty much conquer anything. So.
And then it's the 1% that get it done.
Surround yourself with good people like Joe. That's what it is.
So you have momentum with you right now, which is great. How in the next 30, 60 days are you going to continue that momentum?
So we have a couple of real good news things that I'm gonna talk about a little bit. They're not released yet, so this is kind of like the preview. When we release them, we'll do the big hoopla party and all that. Shoot off some more fireworks and all that good stuff. But we have been focused very diligently on the application and all things Krios app related, as far as actually restructuring a lot of the pieces to it to make it more friendly to people to be able to use, to include additional cryptocurrencies, some of the things that I think that the buyers are looking for as far as ratings of the consultants that are for hire on that application, all that other kind of stuff. So there's a lot of heavy duty work going on. We have a very significant team working on it now. Previously, I don't think that was as much the case. We've got a good portion of my 1%ers that work under my Tech Geeks business that are moving to this project now as we finish up some of the other ones that we've been working on. So I think, I'm going to say the end of July for probably an official rollout. There's probably a good strong beta that we're going to roll out that will allow people to kind of see it probably mid-month. One of the things I did post out in the Telegram group that's probably 2 days old was some graphics of what the kind of the new interface looks like.
Yeah, I've seen that.
As we build on that, people will start to see more and more of that evolve. But that's pretty exciting. I think we're refocusing some of the tasks as well. I know that the previous administration, we'll call them that, the previous administration was pretty high on having wallets for Android and for the iPhone. As a business person, I'm still trying to wrap my head around why. There's no financial reason to the company, which, let's face it, guys, we want the company to make money so we can pay dividends. If it doesn't, if it's a product that doesn't make money for the company, we're probably not interested in it. So the amount of support that's required to support a wallet, the liability of supporting a wallet with a relatively thin team. I mean, we're not Facebook with 100,000 people. Is probably something we're gonna probably move away from. So anybody that may have used or downloaded the Android wallet, my suggestion is go ahead and start moving it to one of the mainstream wallets like MyEther wallet or Trust Wallet is really good. Both of those I've worked with over the last 30 days to get the KRI coin listed with, so they should be easier interfaces for everybody to work with.
And you could just layer that into the app when.
Yeah. So I mean, your wallet's your wallet. I mean, the bank holds some of your money, your pocket holds some of your money. So, you keep your money that's near and dear on your body. Everything else is at the bank. So don't keep it at the exchange. Keep it in your MyEther wallet or Trust Wallet. Like I say, is another good one that seems pretty legit out there. That's a mobile wallet.
It seems to make more sense because the more sort of interaction you have, the more mistakes that can happen. So if you're having to move it from your MyEther wallet to a KRI wallet and
yeah,
that makes complete sense to me. I think in
terms of
having that easeability, and also I think it's touch points. If you're new to crypto and you've got to do 10 things, you're going to get bored by number 3. But if it's just press this button, now you're in, download this, job done.
Yeah,
that simplicity I think is key.
That's true, and the fact of the matter is, I mean, if you look at the number of hours of development time between the Krios wallets that were in the process of being built versus the number of hours that are in the other wallets that are out there, it doesn't make sense for us to play catch up with them. Again, there's no financial motivation. We don't make money as a wallet. All we do is strap on support people and liabilities of the wallet, something happening to it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense for us as a company. So that being said, 100% focus on the application, things that actually make the company money, and that's kind of what we're pushing forward at warp speed. Unfortunately, the first 30 days, and I hate to say it was kind of easy, but some of the first 30-day things like adding exchanges and stuff like that, that's just business. I mean, that's just common communications, understanding what they're looking for versus what we need, and putting the check marks in the boxes is basically all that is. So that's the easy part. The hard part, development, it takes time. There's a lot of hours that's going to end up going into the actual Krios application. Lots of hours. I mean, tens of thousands of hours at the end of the day. We've got less than 1,000 in there. So I mean, that's since the time it started. So understand that. Wow. So we got a lot of work. We're trying to bang in, 1,000 hours or so of real coder time, not just some wannabe coders, but real coder time. We're trying to hit somewhere between 250 and 500 hours a week right now. So with that kind of a momentum, I think people are going to see something pretty spectacular coming out of the end of the gate. So that's kind of where we're at with that as far as one of the next announcements. We have been approved with DigiFinX. I think I've mentioned that before, either in the group or on one of these videos. I have been waiting for U.S. support before pulling the trigger with them. I've kind of held that out as the carrot to them to getting it done. It does not appear that that's going to happen anytime soon. So I'm in the process now of we will probably go ahead and list with DigiFinX even without U.S. support, just because it's always a top 10 exchange. I mean, I can't imagine a whole lot of people complaining about that, short of us American citizens.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that you have a big focus on is, yes, it's a top 10 exchange, but it's actually genuine volume. versus
Correct.
maybe some of the others where bots or whoever.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, to kind of layer on with that, my wife, Teresa, she's got a marketing degree. She is a phenomenal marketing person. I mean, honest to God, it's like, I think I may have said it before. It's like chocolate and peanut butter. I mean, you know, I'm the tech guy and she's the marketing person. And she's done a great job on a lot of other companies that we've had. But we are probably going to, because Digifinix is a lot of Asian, APAC-based kind of users on there, something that this business that I've seen has never really focused on is being somewhat multilingual. So in the first revision of the website, you're going to see pretty much English only. Over the next month of that website, you're going to see the ability to see probably 6 or 7 different languages on that page and be able to follow it that way, as well as some of our marketing dollars that we are currently spending are going to be focused more at APAC type of businesses. So we currently are spending, you know, somewhere in the $500 to $1,000 a day range in marketing the Facebook system, you know, whether it's email campaigns, whether it's Facebook ads or Instagram ads and those kind of things. We're going to start to try to move those to languages outside of the United States, or U.S. English, basically.
And that would
So
sort of make, yeah, it sort of makes sense. So where, you know, if you had to break down sort of regionally where sort of KRI investors are, what are maybe the top 3 countries?
Yeah. So right now Australia is 90% of it. I mean, you know, and then probably Britain, and then probably the United States. India has a lot, but they tend to not be the holders.
Right.
So looking at the actual investment dollars, it's for sure Australia, England, U.S. probably in that order.
Okay.
So, which is not traditional when it comes to cryptocurrencies. You know, South Korea is huge investors of cryptocurrencies. I mean, they're probably equal in size to China as far as alternate cryptocurrency investments, with a quarter of the population. So, you know, those are the kind of markets we're going to start to move ourselves in, as far as letting people know what KRI is. You know, again, it's exposure, and that's kind of where we're at right now. You know, the app's going to be great, but we have to have exposure on the assets as well. So everything kind of moves all at the same time. It's a lot of balls in the air.
Yeah. You're juggling.
Keep them up. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because obviously that's a really dynamic strategy. Instead of like say, well, these are our core markets, let's focus on those core markets. It's actually, we know that they're very susceptible. They love cryptocurrency, and obviously the platform, like from what I'm hearing, is going to be very much sort of Fiverr but on cryptocurrency with a few extra USPs.
Right.
And that's very exciting because obviously Fiverr's done incredibly well, and no one's really challenged them as far as I can see.
No, that's true. They've not. And when you take the cryptocurrency in, and all of a sudden you have more of a global market, I think we're going to really stomp it pretty hard. I think as you see some of the roadmap stuff, there'll be a new white paper this week as well. I know everybody's been asking for that, but this week I promise there'll be a white paper along with that new website. The roadmap of the actual application you'll see is very focused on the different stages and steps that we have to go through to get some of these other markets. So, you know, right now we're kind of, you know, if you liken it to boxing, you know, I'm putting the stomach punches in on somebody right now because it's going to make them, when I get to the 10th round, then I can take them down. Yeah. So I'm kind of softening them up a little bit by talking about KRI in the different social medias and you know, some of the advertising we're doing and stuff like that. We're bringing in more fighters to the match. So we're bringing in, you know, the Chinese and the South Koreans and the Indians and some of these languages, even Arabic, some of these languages that are not, or have never been thought of as far as I know of in the KRI platform. to be able to market to those people as well. So we're kind of softening them up. Boom, we dropped the application out. The application, unfortunately, the initial version is going to be English only. Some of the faults in some of the development strategies was, hey, let's write a website, and hey, let's do it all in code, and we're going to do this. They forgot to try to make it an international-based system. So we're literally, every word that's on the website is now going to have to be a database field so that you can say, hey, if I'm Chinese, this is what I say. If I'm English, this is what you say. If I'm Italian, this is what you say. And you can't do that if you're writing source code the whole time. So some of those changes that are very structural to becoming something that is spectacular, and that's what we're shooting for. We're not shooting for okay. We're shooting for something that we're going to rip people's heads off, basically, and they're going to say, wow, this was a really well thought out platform. Initially, we got the English stuff as we got some of the developers working on the internationalization of that source code. It's just, it is what it is. So it's fun stuff.
You just reminded me there. I don't know if you were watching UFC last night. Masvidal versus Ben Askren, and he just blatantly nearly took his head off. That just went through my mind just then, because obviously I'm a massive UFC fan. I was just watching him go, whoop-ching! So there's loads. I mean, there's so much we can talk about, Dave. I mean, there's the security token element. Obviously, you're starting to make progress on that. Is there any more updates in terms of?
Not so much. I mean, it's kind of in the whole legal process. We have hired a team that's actually in Washington D.C. now to work with our other team of lawyers that's working on trying to get, trying to make it grease the wheels a little bit at the SEC. So what we're trying to do is something the SEC really hadn't seen before. Nobody's come forward and done what we're trying to do. They just do it. So the difference of where I'd like to see us work, I mean, we could do it and, take the liability on. But the problem is when you do that, if I'm running the business and I take sketchy actions and not well thought out steps, and it could potentially shut the business down, who wants to hold KRI? I don't. No. I want to make sure that the guy that's running the business is doing everything he can to prevent, especially a crypto business, from being shut down. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to be proactive, not reactive. Because when the SEC here in the U.S. finally says, okay, this is what you got to do, or this, you can't do it, we need to be ahead of that ball. Because I don't want to, I've got a huge investment in this. I mean, everybody, I appreciate all of the investors that are in here, but I have a huge investment in this myself. So I believe I'm going to take very fiduciary steps when I make decisions when it comes to the SEC stuff. Nor do I want to be sued by the SEC and lose my personal wealth. I don't want the business to go out of business. So that's kind of the people. It is a process to get there. The good news is, and we're going to probably try to keep this one a little shorter than the last couple, but you mentioned earlier that there was something that we're going to come out with that's a fun little 60-day thing that we can do while we're not influenced by the SEC. So this is actually really good timing for us. We are putting together a project or a contest program type of thing that we are going to, everybody's familiar with the fish system from KRI, whether you're in the amoeba or a whale or a dolphin or any of the other fish in the thing. We're going to put together a contest where over the next 60 days, there'll be kind of an ex-dividend date, get you guys used to that, that's going to say, okay, your Ethereum wallet that you've registered, and we're going to create a page, a simple little website that's off the Krios.io domain, and it's going to basically ask you for your email address and your Ethereum wallet. We're going to ask some other questions just because we want to know the customer base a little better. There's some survey questions that we've been basically really, really wanting to ask people. What cryptos do you normally buy? How often do you trade? You know, what's your main pairs? Do you like Bitcoin or Ethereum or Tether most? Those kind of things will be part of this form. The only two required fields will be email, Bitcoin address, or Ethereum address that you want your CRI deposited in. And we're going to, based on the level or size of fish, you will get a larger percentage of. So, you know, somebody that's a whale may end up getting, and again, the percentages, we're still working the math out on it, but you may end up getting, you know, 5% bump. So that means if you own 1 million shares of CRI, you're going to get 50,000 free CRI at the end of the contest. And if you're a NEBA, you might only get 0.25%. So it might be a couple of CRI. But the idea is to train people to kind of be holders of it. It's a great contest. You know, it's one of those things, go out and buy it today because tomorrow's going to be more expensive, which is always a good thing for the entire community, because that means that your holdings become worth more. But I think that's probably that's gonna be a fun little thing. And we'll roll out the details over the next couple of days on that. You know, keep an eye on the Telegram group and on Facebook and Twitter, all those places for that announcement. But I think it'll be a fun little contest for us to do.
Cool. So that sounds very exciting. Like if you can, because I know there's a lot of people that want to top up and maybe run out of funds right now. That's an easy way to do it. And I suppose one thing is where for those competition CRI, where's that come from? Is that come from the treasury? Is that like you've got like a little pot of sort of promotional?
We have the CRI slush fund is what I call it. It's the second largest wallet. If anybody's familiar with the Etherscan, you go out there and look at it, you'll see 190 million's treasury. That doesn't get touched, guys. I mean, we ain't touching that. I mean, short of us buying out a company, that's pretty much there to stay. But there is, I think the next wallet now is like 16 million or something. It would come out of that slush fund. That's kind of what it's made for advertising, some partnership things. Sometimes you got to pay the exchanges CRI, so that's kind of what that fund is for. So, but yeah, it will not come out of treasury. So everybody understands that the amount is the amount.
No, that's fine. It's just so then people don't understand and don't sort of think, oh, it's coming from this pot or whatever. So that's really good. Now there's so we've got the competition. We'll do some details on maybe in a week's time. Should we do another video? Maybe just to run through that and
I'll be able to probably do a lot more talking about the application then as well. Maybe even some screenshots while we're talking. If you can do a screen share or something like that.
Yeah, I can do a whole bunch of stuff. And I think maybe something to just throw out there for people. So if no one's been into the CRI Telegram group, I've done a lot of little charts for people, speculative, shall we say, you know, as a reference, not as, you know, it's not as it is right now, but potentially you've talked about a 2 cents dividend, paying that on a quarterly basis. If you get to whale status, which is 1 million tokens, not only are you going to get a bonus, but actually on that million, it works out as $80,000 dividend a year.
That's strong.
I don't know what the average salary is in America, but I'm sure that's way above the average salary in America.
That's probably 2 times the average salary.
So by getting to a whale status, you will earn 2 times potentially the USA salary. And not only that, because you've got to that point, you get an extra 50,000 on top, which is, I think, it's another $4,000. So that is a hefty incentive, and I think looking at the price where it is now, it's not going to be there for too much longer.
No, well, I can assure you that the price is stagnant at this point, only to go up. One of the things, let's talk about that. Well, I think I might have missed that. So we did an airdrop last week. I think airdrops are good for some things. I mean, people that can't afford to invest actually get to touch the coin, which is a good thing. Unfortunately, they're very painful on a company, as I've learned. Probably the last one will do. But when people get free stuff, they have no ownership of it. They dump it, and we've seen the price kind of get beat up depending on who's awake and who's not awake. Over the last week, it's pretty much stabilized at this point, which is good, and on its way back up. But we did learn something. So, you know, with every rain cloud, you ought to be able to see a rainbow somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So the good news is, even though we had a crappy week of pricing, one of the things that we had contemplated, we've had actually a pretty good number of people say, "Hey, can I get my dividends in KRI versus Ethereum?" Well, you know, that's easier on the company because we don't have to do the conversion. It's easy. We know your KRI wallet. It's super easy for us to do that. But the problem is it's going to show up very much like an airdrop. And what I'm concerned with is that people will say, "Hey, I just got, you know, 10,000 free KRI. I'm going to go dump them in the market." You know, the price goes from, hopefully at that point, 50 cents down to 25 cents. And it's like, okay, that's not good. Where if we use KRI to Ethereum, they can dump the Ethereum. That's fine. It ain't going to affect my KRI price any. So if anything, hopefully those people that said, "Hey, I'd like it in KRI," they're going to be motivated to convert the Ethereum into KRI. And what happens to the market when you do that? The price goes up.
Indeed.
So that is the rainbow in the cloud of the airdrop that I think we've really learned about, which is good. I mean, hey, you know, that's life is all about learning.
And it only costs you 100,000 KRI, so that, I think that's a very
Yeah.
It's a very valuable lesson learned for very
200,000.
Yeah, 200,000. Sorry. I know one of the guys in my group, John. He'd like to thank everybody that dumped because he picked it up absolutely bargain bottom prices. You know, an extra. I think he had about 50,000.
Really?
Yeah, he hoovered them up. So he wants to say a big thank you to everyone that dumped.
Yeah.
And he'll see you at $1. So
well, he's the winner.
Yeah. So no, it's. I mean, I'm just absolutely blown away by. You said in the very first video, I go at Dwight speed, and I was saying, okay, cool. You know, we'll see. We've heard a lot of things in the past, and by God, have you just absolutely flown with this? You've just it's motor, like the step change is phenomenal, and you know. I know you were talking about, you know, some of the guys, they've come in, they're investing for 2 years, like flat out, yeah, Dwight, 2 years. I mean, to see where this project will be in just in 6 months, let alone 2 years, I mean, it's very exciting at this point.
It is, yeah. Yeah, and more to come. I mean, that's the thing. You know, we're starting to get past some of the big rocks now that we got to get moved out of the way, like the application and stuff like that, and the SEC, you know, but those we're chipping away at every day. You know, we're getting through it, so that's a good thing. There's some other good news. I'm going to hold off on saying anything about it, but there might be a major announcement. I'm just throwing it out there.
Little teaser.
Next week's video. And guys, we kind of had a little bit of a delay on the videos. It was a national holiday here in the U.S. I did try to spend some time with my family, but we are probably going to move to a bi-weekly video. But this next week we will have another video because I do think I'm going to be able to announce something that's everybody's going to be super stoked about. So
nice. Well, we'll leave everybody on that absolute cliffhanger there. I just want to say a massive thank you, Dwight, and I'll definitely see you next week.
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome.
Thanks, James.
Thank you, Dwight. Bye.
Take care, everybody. Bye.
I'm feeling